Hey guys, welcome back to the Hustlin' Horsepower YouTube channel. We appreciate all of you that support your all-American hustlers and keeping this journey alive. In today's video, we go through and fix the crank trigger setup. We are still on the hunt, looking for a golf cart for MVP to holler around the racetrack. Guys, we greatly appreciate it. We are still working on the video of not only War in the Woods, but of the Star-Spangled Shootout at the airport this past weekend. That we did make it to the finals out of 73 cars. Guys, it's a whole lot of work for just two of us. But we appreciate all of you that support it. We're working on it.
She'll climb up, but she'll probably just... Oh, maybe she won't.
She dang near gets out of pack and play by herself now.
Yeah, she steps twice.
She's climbed 2 stairs already.
Well, guys, swim is over with. So we're going to go get ourselves a little bit of breakfast. And then we're going to go back to my mom's house. Get the get Straight Gangster in the trailer, even though it is not fixed. I'm 99% sure that sensor was a problem, so we will be stopping at Summit Racing on the way to Ohio to pick up that crank sensor, and I guess we'll maybe try to find a place to do a burnout or launch the car, maybe even in the Summit Racing parking lot. I don't know. They might not approve of that, but we might do it anyways. And then we'll know if we have to go through and buy different crank sensor setup, if that one got damaged beyond more than just a sensor when it did backfire like that in the semifinals. So guys, appreciate it. Keep following. War in the Woods video coming up here shortly. So guys, Lady Gangster's over here. Smiley Miley was a little bit grumpy, so she's getting to watch Miss Rachel through the surround sound as we're traveling down the road on the way to War in the Woods. We hope to see you guys there. Safe travels, everyone. We'll see you there tomorrow. We are on our way to Summit Racing to get the parts that we need, but we'll be there tomorrow afternoon. Well, guys, here we are at Summit, and they're shutting off the lights on us. We're some of the last customers here, but we might just have to buy a whole crank trigger kit and stuff like that, because I checked the website this morning and they had another sensor in stock and some other stuff in stock, at least it said on the website. We get here 10 minutes before closing, and they didn't have them. So I might have to buy a whole nother harness. I'm also buying a whole crank trigger kit in case we need to swap this over to a 36-1 kit. And then what else are we doing? Oh, we're buying another harness as well in case I have to swap it all over to a 36-1 trigger setup. But we're headed to Jeremy's tonight, and we might even have to splurge on some Chick-fil-A, because I'm getting freaking worn out. Okay. I don't think I'm in the mood to cook dinner tonight. Jeremy's a good cook though. Yeah. Maybe we could make some fried rice. Maybe we'll get freaking Mr. Waddles, freaking dad, to cook us some fried rice. What do you think, Smiley? Do you think someone should come on board with your all-American hustlers? Yeah. Yeah. See, look at this. We got the next generation here. These little guys right here cost us $22,000 finals. So we got to come up with a solution, because I think we got a hot rod for War in the Woods if it doesn't shut off. So guys, appreciate all of you. We'll see you soon at War in the Woods. We might even be able to get another video out over this whole cluster, I guess you could say. Trying to get the car ready for War in the Woods. So guys, hope to see you soon. Yeah, this weekend, War in the Woods, Brown County Dragway, most infamous track besides Yellow Belly, probably. It's cool. We have to go well into the 4s out there, and we'll see what happens, guys. Well, guys, it is dang near midnight, and we had dinner with Jeremy and them, and we cooked up some pierogies. I do like pierogies. I don't know if I should be eating those because they're against my what's it called? I've been trying this carnivore diet, because meat is supposed to digest in a different part of your intestinal tract, and so I had a couple pierogies because I like them. I cheated a little bit, but also had some chicken fingers. So it's right around, it's almost midnight, but we're here at the Bonnet's place. We're crashing here Wednesday night because it's a halfway point essentially between Buffalo and Brown County Dragway in Indiana. And Jeremy and the Bonnets they're some of the best people we've met in this racing stuff. And so I'm gonna run over to Kenny's place, who's right up the road. He's another great dude. I got the bus and the trailer parked up there, so I'm gonna run up there. I gotta disconnect the or drop the back door, hook up the generator, get the lights going in the trailer, because Jeremy's lift is tied up. Kenny offered to get his truck off the lift so I could put the car in there, but I'm not gonna do all that. Right now the plan is to go to the trailer, get the generator running, get the lights on, move the car back a couple feet, get the crank trigger set up off, and I'm probably just gonna weld up the crank trigger, weld the hole solid, and then drill and tap it. Put it in the mill, drill it and tap it, so we could use the threaded sensor setup, which is much more robust crank trigger sensor, and replace the harness to go with that sensor, because like I could rewire it, but at the same time it was $80, and I don't feel like splicing into the other sensor. I'll do that at a later date, and we could use that one as a spare down the road. But I did buy a whole crank trigger kit and sensor and harness and a whole bunch of other crap. I spent way too much money, but the intention is to return all that crap, just to have it on hand in case push comes to shove. I can swap things around. So we did stop at Summit, get all that stuff. But as of right now, I'm gonna run up the road about half a mile, get the bus running, or get the trailer lit up, and pull the front of the car apart, or pull the sensor off, get that welded up in the morning, and then we'll drive the car back down here to Jeremy's and finish that off. I'll probably pull the whole front of the motor apart again, as far as the balancer, fuel cell, front end, and just double check everything and make sure that stuff's all good to go, and slap it all back together, reset the timing on the car, make sure everything's good. So that is the plan right now, starting at midnight. So catch you up while I'm at the trailer with the lights on. Well guys, it is right around midnight, Thursday technically, Thursday morning, but Wednesday night I guess you could say. And I gotta go here, and the goal is to take the crank trigger setup off the adjustment part. You can't really see in here, so I'm gonna go after, get it off, then I'll explain to it after. Alright guys, this is the crank trigger setup. It is on a mount in there, so this can slide up and rotate so you can index this. My plan right here is to take this off, the old sensor here, weld this hole up, but first I'll scribe it here, and of course the center will be the center here, but I'll have to scribe the length here because the wheel has to be in the center here. So if I weld this hole up solid, you can't have the sensor off. Let me back it down here a little bit, because I might not even be in the frame, because I'm not a YouTube superstar just yet. This sensor has to fall perfectly in line with the wheel in there. So if this sensor is too far back or too far forward, that'll be screwed up. It won't read properly. So I gotta go through here, and I'll make a mark on here with a file or something like that, or just make a small little significant mark right here, so that when I go to weld this all up, we'll be good. So the plan right now is to weld this hole shut and use a threaded type sensor. It's sitting over there. I'll talk about that later in the video. So this style here has 2 dowel pins. These dowel pins are pretty solid. They're very good at indexing things. Some systems use 1 dowel pin and 2 bolts. It holds a little bit better clamping force, but just like a Heim joint or anything else, the threads can get worked on, and a thread is definitely not the same tolerance as something like a dowel pin. So a 1/4 inch dowel pin is a 1/4 inch, 250 thousandths. A 1/4 inch bolt, it might be 250 thousandths on the outside of the threads, but when those threads start working on something, it gets worn out a whole lot easier. So I think right now the plan is to get like a flap wheel, clean this up, take just a round file, clean the inside of this, weld this solid, and then drill it out for the threaded sensor. Alright guys, so to go a little more in depth, we got marked the center of this hole this way, and of course the center of the hole this way is in the center of this outside perimeter. you can't see it inside the car, but when this is in there like this, the tooth is of course round, and this rotates up and down. But this has to be phased in. So on the piece that this slides into and indexes in, there's scribe marks here on the top and the bottom. I do that for phasing. I do that on every adjustable part on the car, essentially. I put scribe marks on it because when things rattle and shake, you could go in there and you could quickly see. If you have a gap between your scribe mark and the face of this, you know this moved a little bit. So it helps with phasing and indexing everything on the car, whether it's crank sensors or adjustable timing pointers, whatever it may be. Jessel belt drive system, indexing the phasing of the cam timing, whatever it may be. I scribe all those things to where I have it set, or I know what scribe mark it's supposed to be on. So guys, like I said, the plan here this is aluminum, probably 6061 or something like that. The plan is to clean this anodizing off, clean the anodizing off here, clean the anodizing off on the inside. We will weld this hole shut, and then drill and tap it to metric 12-1. So guys, there's two ways to go about finding the center of this hole. 18050 is what I measured earlier. 75, whatever it is. Okay, and then you can measure the inside of this hole, which was 700. Okay, 700. So 700 divided by 2 is 0.350. So we could do 0.350 plus this measurement. This measurement here will be our center. So the math on that equates up to 215. So you can see here, this is going to be the center of our hole. We will mark that in the mill after we do all this. So it'll be 215. I just locked this down. You could lock it down here. We could shut this sucker right off so we don't waste the batteries. I'm going to now go with the flap wheel, clean all this up, with the file on the inside, clean it all up. Then we're going to weld it up. And then when we put this in the mill, we will score this, and that'll be our center mark. And then, of course, whatever the width of this is, we'll divide that by 2 and make the score mark on the center. And that'll be our drilling point for the new sensor. Well, guys, Jeremy said he had some graphite, but I don't know exactly where it was, so I had to weld it a little bit differently. Sometimes you could put a piece of backing on it, and you could weld it all the way from the backside to the face, but I just did basically welded a cap on it, and then welded it from the backside up, just so I had a base on it. So, like, the first welds were a little bit ugly, but guess what? Like, it doesn't have to be pretty. This is all going to get machined off perfectly flat. Off of this plane here, we will index it in the mill, and then we'll go and mark our scribe line from here for our center point and down the center here, and drill it up after we get it in the mill. So guys, step 1, weld it up. Step 2, machine it up. Step 3, lay it on something perfectly flat on the vise, machine the top piece here, and then we index it and drill it. So guys, I took off probably about, I don't know, about 5 thousandths or something like that. Make sure this was perfectly flat. You can see this is all welded up here. And now we're gonna go through here and we're gonna index this here, scribe it, and then we'll measure the width of this, cut it in half, split it that way. And that center point will be our center punch. There you go. There's that. 1/2 inch and a half. 1/2 inch and a half is 3/4 inch. That ain't the prettiest. It slipped off. Trying to look through the camera doing this. I do not recommend trying to do this stuff while looking through the camera. It is. Well, guys, it's been a pretty long day, but this sucker is ready to drill and tap to accept the sensor. It is a 12-1. So metric 12 millimeter -1. We'll see if Jeremy has that tap at his work. And if so, we'll be able to get this sucker done. Well, guys, we have a few minutes until the tap gets here. Martin Steed is bringing it over. He's got Steed Speed Shop. I believe that's over in Akron, but he's traveling past Jeremy's place this afternoon. So Smiley wanted to jump on Jeremy's golf cart and go for a little ride. So Sexy Rexy jumped up, and we're just going for a little ride around here as Mom's out shopping. And the tap should be here shortly, so we could tap the crank sensor and then get the car started up and head out to Brown County Dragway. We might wait until 2 o'clock to head out. That's when Jeremy gets out of work because he goes into work at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So we're gonna just going for a little stroll here, hanging out, waiting for the parts to show up so we can fix the car and head on out to Brown County Dragway for War in the Woods. Well, here we are, guys. Martin Steed Jr. stopped by with the tap, so we have the new setup on. It's time to, I'm gonna Loctite this. It is a nylock in here. The nylock is in good shape, but we're gonna add a little bit of red Loctite on there just in case. Install this back in the car, index the crank trigger, and we gotta do that all up in there. So it's gonna be a little bit tight, but it is what it is. Make it work. So guys, unfortunately you can't video it, but I set this up for a 22 and a 23 feeler gauge. That is 45 thousandths. Come up under here and you set the crank trigger right there to 45 thousandths. And I check it in about 4 spots to make sure everything is good. You can see that the wheels are doubled up there, and you can see that how that bracket, how that sensor bracket goes up in there, kind-ish. And you can see how it's indexed. Looking like here, I actually got to lower that bracket about an 1/8 inch because you can see that scribe mark down there that I missed. But I was double checking it as I was doing this video, so I got to lower that just a hair bit. Then we'll be good in shape to set the sucker up. Well, guys, I actually lied. It was just an illusion. You can see that it is indexed to my scribe mark that I talked about earlier in the video there. We are good to go. So guys, this is a Holley EFI crank and cam harness. I could have went through and redid my harness, but might as well change everything. It's $85 or so, and we're just going to make sure that we'll swap everything just to eliminate all the problems. For $85, it costs us a lot of money. So not that the old one is junk, we can modify that, replace this end right here for that style connector. Step 1, it runs again. So guys, we got the car running, but now we got to index the timing. We will do this again at Jeremy's because I don't have my computer with me. I think I can do it through the dash, but I'm just gonna make sure that the timing's pretty close. To be able to do that, we run fire core wires. Those wires are literally insulated so well that when I hook up this thing here to read the spark coming through that wire, this thing actually doesn't read it. So I carry a couple old plug wires with me just to set the timing. So number 1 cylinder, got to pull out the plug here, and you know, I use my fire gloves here because it is quite warm. You pop off the old wire, set it somewhere safe. I think that's safe enough. Go in here, put on 1 wire on the number 1 coil. It doesn't matter if it's big block Chevy, Ford, whatever it is. You know, number 1 is number 1. That's what you set timing off of, according to the marks on the balancer. So go through here, set it up. make sure it clips. Then you gotta wrap it around, go through here, put on the spark plug. So you're banging on all 8. Then go through here, hook up this to this. Then you start up the car. Gotta have power to the battery. You don't have to have an extra battery. You could hook it up to your alternator, power wire, starter plug. That stuff's just all on that side of the motor. So, brought the other battery out here. We're gonna start the car up. I'll verify the timing on the dash, and then make sure it matches, the timing light matches the dash. It should be pretty dang close because we did phase it in, but you gotta make sure. About 3 degrees off. The dash was reading 36. This was reading 39. Guys, that's plenty close to bring this to Jeremy's and dump it off the trans brake once and see if they have fixed it. We have the new harness on it, and I machined up the other to accept a threaded Hall effect sensor. The difference between the two sensors is one is a magnetic sensor that reads a metal object. One is a reads the opposite. You got magnets on the trigger wheel, and the sensor reads the magnets. So those are still hot, especially being up at that RPM. Don't be a dummy. Make sure you wear your gloves. We're gonna take this off and replace the wire, kill the ignition, close up the trailer, check the fuel, and we'll be good to go in just a few minutes. Appreciate it, guys. Hustling horsepower.